Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to another episode. And today I want to talk about a personal relationship with God through Christ. And it's sad that you have to mention that because many churches preach that. Most of us in the faith would believe that. It's a personal relationship with God. But when you come down to it and you start questioning whether that's truly what most people believe, it'll come out that in reality, it's almost like if we have a Old Testament type of relationship. You see, the Jews in the Old Testament, their relationship was nationalistic. Okay, it was a national relationship. So when the high priest went and offered the sacrifices for the sin, it was for the sin of the people. You see, each individual Jew's sin was forgiven at that moment. There was no, no, not my sin. I don't want my sin to be forgiven. I want to keep my sin. No, they had a national relationship. They didn't have a personal relationship. They didn't know God like we have the opportunity to. But these days, it seems like the church system has adopted that type of mentality. Because if you say, oh, I don't believe in, and you mention a typical common belief within Christianity, you're going to have a problem with the members in your church. For example, if you go to a Baptist church and you've been attending a Baptist church and the people like you because you're gifted to teach and you know one day I might teach. I think people say he's going to be a pretty good teacher within the church system. Teach Sunday school, men's group, women's group, whatever. But you know, for some reason you start saying, you know, I don't believe in hell. You can believe everything else they believe, but you just, for some reason, say, hell is not real. And you can prove your point. You can show the mistranslations and the history of where hell came and how it came into, creep into Christianity. Suddenly, you're no longer going to be a teacher. I'll tell you that right now. You need to shut up and color, is basically the way it is. You can't ask those questions. So they want you to believe what they believe, and they want you to have this national type of relationship, or a relationship between God and the church, not God and you. You're going to have different beliefs than everyone else in your church. I guarantee you're not the only person with questions. But the church, many churches, they muzzle you. You're not allowed to ask certain questions. That's just the way that is. So, your relationship with Christ is different than the relationship the church is supposed to have with God. And what happens is we begin to shut up and this becomes a burden. This relationship is no longer personal. It becomes a national type of relationship and it becomes a burden. And many Christians just walk away. And that's the reason why many people believe, if I leave church, I leave God. No. Just because you leave church doesn't mean you're leaving God. And many people would say that, but the minute they leave church, they feel uncomfortable. Oh, something's wrong. I just don't feel right. I feel weak in the faith. Why? Because you want to have the mindset of the national Old Testament type of relationship with God. The Bible says you are one with God. What's going to separate you from the love of God? Nothing. The Bible says that too. But the national relationship mentality says if you sin, God turns his back. He's upset at you. You walk away from church, you're walking away from God. That's exactly the way it's taught. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, at the end, that's the way it is. It's a personal relationship that you have with God. It's okay to question. Your relationship, most importantly, is the basic foundation. What's the foundation? There's two types of mentalities when it comes to the foundation. One person says, I believe Christ died for my sins. And it ends there. That type of relationship with God, most of the time, would lead to a type of failure or you walking away from God. The other type of mentality is, I believe Christ died for my sins, which is important. But more importantly is that he came out of the tomb. Because if Christ stayed dead, then my faith is in vain. And that's the problem. Many people think Christ died for my sins, and they leave it there. Hello, something else happened afterward. He came out of the tomb. To allow you what? To become one with God. That's why the veil was torn in half. Or rent, right? It says it was rent. Torn in half. So you can have a personal relationship with God without having to go through the church system, through a pastor, through some type of leadership. Your relationship with God is a personal relationship. Enjoy that relationship. Walk with him as one. In love, in peace. God is love, and so are you. Walk in your relationship personally. It is your relationship to enjoy. Everyone, imagine me telling someone, hey, this is the way I love my wife. You need to love her the same way I do. What? You don't do that? You're crazy. What's wrong with you? You're never going to learn how to really love your wife unless you do X, Y, and Z. No. That would sound stupid because it's a personal relationship I have with my wife. Same way you with your husband have a different type of relationship. But the church system wants us to have that cookie cutter type of relationship with God. It just doesn't work that way. The Spirit blows where it wants to, and your relationship with God is different. It's different. God bless you, and don't ever forget that what Jesus Christ did is enough.